My name is Almas and this is the story for Colourful Heritage. I came to Scotland in 1966, just after I got married, and I lived in Gujranwala. That's the place I had mostly lived and did my education. I was born in 1945 in Lahore. That was where my mother's parents lived. But then, I was in Gujranwala because my father's house was in Gujranwala. It was totally arranged marriage, and as it happened that one of my friend's mother knew my husband's mother. And when my friend's mother was talking to my mother-in-law to be, and she said she was looking for a suitable girl for her husband, son who is coming from Scotland, and she's very anxious that he doesn't go back without getting married. So she is rather in a hurry. So my friend's mother said, okay, I know a girl which I think you might like, so let's go and have a look. So they came unannounced, and I happened to be that day, you know how in Pakistan you put that tail in your hair, and that was my day for my tail. I had a tail in my hair, and I opened the door. There was a knock at the door, and I opened the door, and these two ladies come in. One was my friend's mother, and some other lady along with another lady. So I said, right. So I never thought of anything. I thought they'd just come to see my mom. So we had a 15 minutes, I think, chat or something, and then they went away. And then that was that. That was second day the proposal came. I come from a businessman family. My father was a businessman, and my whole family was a business people. And I somehow said to my father, I never want to marry a businessman. So my father, when the proposal came, he talked to me and he says, well, this is the boy who lives in Scotland. He is a professional. He's not a businessman, as you said. So what do you think? And I said, that's fine, And actually, the thought of coming on a plane to go to Scotland was so alluring that I said, oh, wonderful! I am going to go to Scotland, So, I was really very excited, to be getting married and going abroad, because I've never been abroad, So I have actually never been in an aeroplane. I went to Karachi in a train, and everywhere we went in a train, never in an aeroplane. So the very thought of going in an aeroplane to such a far away country, I read a lot about Scotland already, so I was very excited. When I left Lahore, from Lahore we went to Karachi, and then we took a plane, Karachi to London. So I didn't think I will be that upset, but I was very upset when, the reality hit me that it's happening. I'm going so far away. And I remember my father, his tear-stained face, I never forget, up to this day. And it was raining, and he looked at me, and it was so terrible. And I was sobbing and crying, which I thought, why am I doing that? But I don't know. I did. And then I sat in the aeroplane, and I started to just write. I didn't have paper. I did have a pen, and I started to write on a menu. And I wrote, the journey, how it happened, how I was feeling. I came here in 1966, so that makes it, I'm here now 51 years. I'm coming to 52 years. And I still feel, that I am still Pakistani. I will always will be Pakistani. That is where I come from. That's where I belong. And I'm very proud to be a Pakistani. On the same note, I feel very Scottish because I have lived here more than I have lived in Pakistan. I have job, career, business. I have a married life here. I have my ups and downs here. I have my kids here. I'm still having my ups and downs here. And I feel that I can never say that no, I am not Scottish. Yes, I am Scottish, but I am Pakistani. And I'm a Pakistani Scottish. When I came here, as I told you, I was very naive, full of enthusiasm. And when I came, it was February. It was 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And as I drove, I saw these black buildings and very, very, very black looking atmosphere. And I said, oh, my heart just sank. I said, oh no, this is the weather seems to be very bad. And you know how you come from a house full of people, and then you just enter this house which is only you and your husband, and you know you just feel a little bit lonely at that point. But I think on the whole I have really enjoyed my life, every minute of it. I have never felt that desperate or lonely. My mother, on the other hand, because there was only way of communication was letter, and my letter will take 10 days to reach there, and my younger sister used to tell me, oh, I'm fed up reading this letter for 10 days. Mom will keep it under her pillow, ask her to read every night before she goes to bed, and till the second letter come, and then that letter is put away in the drawer, and then that second letter is read till the third one comes. But it was not like that for me at all. I will just, if she writes, fine. If she doesn't write, fine. And then, I thought it was a great adventure. Really, I did. To see so many new things.
Yeah, and so easy for you.
I think it was mainly my husband. He was very, very, positive, very jovial, very, enlightened person, and he just, I think we just hit on very well from the first day, and he always, he was always very appreciative and very encouraging, and I never felt like, I was missing out anything. And then I was always walking, exploring. I never sat in the flat, for long when I remember I was heavily pregnant and was still walking, and I have to wait on a bus stop for 3 hours, and my feet got so swollen that my doctor said to me, now that for the next week you have to have a bed rest. So I think it makes difference if you just don't brood, just get out and, just whatever you can see. I didn't have any money, and I used to do so much window shopping that I knew every shop what they got in their window. And when it's changed, which one is changed and which one is not changed. But, that's how it was. I had my first child just after a year or so getting married, and tell you the truth, I never wanted to have a child to start with, because I was all determined to have a career. And I knew that if I have a child, so I said to my husband, I don't want a child. And he said, okay, don't. So I had a child, so I couldn't do my, obviously, but I did, eventually, because that's why I believe if you're determined, you want something, you will find a way, And I did follow a career, for a while, although by that time I had 2 kids, not just one, even 2. Yes, I was, as I said before, that I always wanted to have a career, so I did manage to do my Jordan Hill training, and then I was assigned to work in Maryhill, in a very, it's a very rough and rundown area at that point. Maryhill is now quite good and is coming up. By that point it was. I was a teacher there, and to my horror, they said that I could not wear shalwar kameez, and which all the time I did wear at that time. And they said that if I didn't want to wear skirt, then I can wear my sari, which is a formal dress. So I have to wear a sari, and I used to change two buses and then walk. So my sari, first day I went, it was torrential rain, and I was soaked completely. My sari was soaked. So from then on, I learned to go in trousers or jeans and then go to the toilets, change into sari, do my job, come out, change again into trousers and go home. So that's what I did for the whole 2 years while I was teaching. And while I was teaching there in Gearbraid primary, I found it very rewarding because it was very deprived kids were there, and there was kids who never had a proper home or proper bed to sleep. And I became quite close to a couple of kids who were very deprived, and they really looked up to me quite a lot because I would talk them apart from teaching. So one day this little boy, it was only 8-year-old, between 8 and 9 I was teaching, and he came and he was very upset, and I said, "What's wrong, John?" And he says, "Oh, Mrs. Meir, I can't say this. My friends are saying something very nasty about you." And I said, "Well, John, we can only find out whether it's nasty or no if you tell me. So please tell me, what did they say?" And he says, "No, I can't tell. No, I can't tell." And he's getting more and more upset. I said, "And don't worry about it. You like me. You think I'm a good person. So that's all it matters." And so the guy was quite relieved. And I thought, really, how it could, we can put these, seeds of hatred right from the very young, when they're very young. A tenant, I said to her, "Helen, why don't you buy a house, little flat to yourself?" She says, "How am I going to do that?" I said, "Listen, just find a little flat and I will pay it, and then you can pay me. I will be your bank." And she says, "Oh, right. Yeah, I can do that. I would love to have my own little flat." So she bought a little flat. Don't even remember how much it cost, not very much at all. And then she will pay me every month from her wages. And within 2-3 years, the flat of her own. And she felt so great that she says, "Mrs. Meir, I never imagined in my wildest dream that I will ever have a house of my own." And she was my kids really loved her.